Josie Gonzales, Chair, San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors. Giles Smith interviews We Learn of Priorities, 211, and First Five. Our community, showcasing the talent of our high desert communities. Our community, presented by CYAP, serving to educate, inform, and inspire the citizens of our communities. Hosted by Giles Smith. Civic leaders, law enforcement, and education officials who are dedicated to making our community, as our one nation under God, a safer, happier, more productive, and more prosperous place to live.
This is our community, baby.
Our host on Our Community, Giles Smith.
Thank you, Terry. Our goal for this next half hour is to help educate, inform, and inspire you, the people of our community.
On Our Community, San Bernardino County 5th District Supervisor Josie Gonzales, interviewed by Giles in San Bernardino.
Well, thank you. Nice seeing you again, Josie. Thank you for the time.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me here today.
First question, if you don't mind. Your term as chair of the Board of Supervisors is ending soon. Is there anything you can reach back, the accomplishments that you want to tell our community about?
I want to first of all say thank you to the people of this great county for giving me the opportunity, first of all, to run, and second of all, to serve. As chairman of the board, I will say that it truly has been an experience. It's not easy trying to figure out how to balance colleagues, issues, emergencies, the economy, the real estate crisis, and being able to serve the people's needs simultaneously does get to be a little bit difficult. Becoming chair just compounds all of that because it becomes a county-wide versus just a district type of focus. And being able to cross district lines and show that there is truly a regional approach and intent and delivery of services that the people can count on, that it's not just one of us that they can depend on, but that all five of us, and that as chair I have wanted to lead and to show that example so that the people can begin once again to trust and to enjoy and have pride in living in this county.
Okay. What are some of the additional duties that are involved in being the chair of the County Board of Supervisors?
In addition to just being a supervisor, when you become chair, there are additional responsibilities. One, you're responsible for the county board agenda. You are responsible for running all of the meetings and knowing the process that needs to be adhered to through legal counsel, through clerk of the board, and making sure that the legal processes are adhered to, so that then when you arrive at a motion and a second, those items are legally approved and are able to be implemented, whether it's applying for funding, whether it's moving forward on a budget, or being able to create an ordinance, which then applies in the form of a rule across the entire county. So that's very, very important. Also, I found that although ethics have been at times in short supply on the Board of Supervisors, being able to restore that and to do it from a chairmanship position has been critical. Being able to make the commitment for me to my chairmanship that I would keep a low profile, that it would be about governing and able to deliver a trustworthy chairmanship, that through servant leadership, our county employees, that the residents of this county could say, I'm proud. We haven't been in the paper for anything negative. We haven't been cited for any wrongdoings. No lawsuits have been filed. That in itself is critical when we need to heal, so that in the reemergence of leadership, there is that gained trust through consistency. With that, it would seem that it would be easy to accomplish those things. Absolutely not. There are issues that come before us at all times. Some of them are volatile, controversial, very difficult. And keeping a balance, and again, maintaining a consistency as we move forward, is critical. And I believe that I've accomplished that. Many a time things could have gone differently. It was my intent also as chair that I would promote my colleagues. They needed to come first. I've done this at every single meeting, regardless of what idea or what statement I had. I made sure that my colleagues had their opportunity first. If they took what I was going to say or what I was going to do for themselves, I let it be. If they didn't, then I would wait till the end, and then I would say, well, what do you think about this? Or I'd like to do this other thing, and be able to always work with the CEO. Mr. Greg Devereaux has a very strong administrative approach in this county, something we've needed for a very long time. And again, as chair, I saw it as my responsibility to embrace that strong administrative approach and bring order to staff, and how policy and procedure truly has been implemented or not, identifying what works and what doesn't, and having the internal administrative wherewithal to change it. And so it's not all about bringing something new. It's about identifying what you've got. Does it work? Doesn't work? And if it doesn't, then let's get rid of it and let's implement some new policies. And that's exactly what I've seen as my responsibility. So aside from the image recovery period, this whole concept of change, of new direction, and identifying where does this county and its county supervisors need to be, where do we need to lead, and what directions and what avenues, as we look at the economy, as we look at the underwater mortgages, as we look at the high unemployment rates. These are our responsibilities. We look at the high need for health care. Huge responsibility. Here we have environmental issues. I sit on the South Coast Air Quality Management District, and it's difficult to balance all of these regulations, and at the same time, as an elected official, I support manufacturing. I want things that are stamped with "Made in the USA." That means that our residents have jobs to support their families. Being able to balance regulations, whether they're industrial, commercial, or environmental, whether they're state or federal regulations, is really a talent that we need to get better at. We need to hone that. We need jobs. Here at the local level, this is where the jobs take place. Through the Economic Development Department, working through the Workforce Investment Board that gets its money from WIA, the Workforce Investment Act from the federal government, we are able to rehabilitate individuals who have lost their job, their livelihood, and either are on the brink of becoming homeless or are homeless. That leads me to one of my other interests, and that is, first of all, making sure that we are on board with the federal government and the 10-year plan to end homelessness. This was an uphill battle, being able to put the resources together, the manpower together that ultimately brought about the Office of Homeless Services. Establishing that has been critical. Once we did that, we started going out for the every 2-year homeless point in time count, which will take place here in January of next year. Being able to quantify the number of homeless and able to, through this process, identify the new face of homelessness. It is not that lost middle-aged male who has rebelled against society. It is the single parent with children living in their cars, living, if they're lucky enough, in someone's garage until they get thrown out, living in our parks, living in the back of abandoned buildings. All of this spells the new face of homelessness is about young single parents who have for one reason or another in this very difficult economy, lost their economic wherewithal. And we must be able to recover that human resource and the value that they bring to our communities. And that is the main reason why then I established the Interagency Council on Homelessness, brought in all of the respective county departments, the network providers that already exist within this county, that either nonprofits, faith-based organizations, and or community-based organizations that needed to have a face and a seat at the table of the Interagency Council on Homelessness. With this said, we're making big strides in addressing how we handle our homeless, looking at a county-wide, a regional approach to solving not just this issue, but many other issues. We can't look at unemployment and think that there's only one cause, one ill, one negative. There are multiple of reasons, health being a primary reason. When someone is ill, they don't feel well, and they don't seek or are unable to seek medical attention, the situation in most cases gets worse. And by the time they do go and see a doctor, the health care is costly, and sometimes there is no remedial outcome. And that costs money, it costs the quality of the life of the individual, and many times the loss of that life. And we need to be proactive. If in fact we say that we are in elected positions to lead, then we should be doing that, and we should be brave enough to stand up for what is right, fight for what is decent, and put in a good day's work. And in my chairmanship, these things have been my goals. I have extended myself to my colleagues, to the people that I serve, that then the people can embrace the place where they call home, the place where they pay their taxes, whether it be property tax, sales tax, unsecured property tax, luxury tax, hopefully. Fact is that, you know, we need to truly give the people something to hang on to, that they then become the soldiers in this fight to be able to recover. We're living in the post-RDA, the redevelopment era. Redevelopment agencies are gone. The state saw fit to bring about their dissolution. What do? Do we sit around and we wait for, you know, the manna to fall from heaven? That's not going to happen. The turnaround, the economic turnaround that we need is going to come about as a result of our hard work, our ingenuity, our creativity. And if someone came up years ago with redevelopment agencies that worked for 30, 40 years, then we can come up with the next economic tool that will bring about the next 30, 40 years of economic success. I'm a big supporter of the San Bernardino Valley Enterprise Zone. It is a zone in which businesses that locate or relocate or expand in this enterprise zone are given tax incentives, tax credits, and through the Workforce Investment Board, should they hire our rehabilitation